This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Thanks.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here with me, I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Chilling, ready for another great episode here. Countdown to my birthday next week. If you guys want to bless your boy, feel free to do all the donations, buy a shirt, do whatever, add a monthly joint, whatever you want to do. That's right. I'm selling my birthday. But yeah, I will be 35. So with you, James, while I have this existential crisis, of myself.
You having a crisis for real?
It hasn't hit me yet, but I'm sure it will.
I don't really let the numbers get to me, but luckily, someone that actually said this on the stream before we actually started recording the podcast is James, he's shooting from Central Booking. Rich has a camera that is not coming off his laptop. I'm using my laptop camera. I've always used my laptop camera because I don't give a fuck. But in this particular week, it really helps because I blew off half of my left eyebrow cooking for the propane grill on Sunday, right? So I'm not gonna it was all my fault. I'm not gonna get it too high fucked up because you're already laughing at me right now that I singed off half my eyebrow. But I don't know if you can see Lowe's gray, but that's my arm. That's what it's looking like right now.
Oh man, but this man is marked up.
Yeah. But yeah, man.
This man looked like he's been trying to guard Caitlin Clark or something.
Yeah, I've been singed in such a way. I got first, second degree burns all over my body. But yeah, man. I always cook with when I Rich knows this. I like to bake. I also like to barbecue. Those are my two things I'm actually good at cooking. So I like to use a normal charcoal wood grill, but I also have in a pinch, you need something cooked fast. I have a propane grill. I don't really like the propane grill because propane is flammable and dangerous. A tank can blow up. Or if something doesn't go wrong, you can end up with half eyebrow off and also half of your forearm lit up.
So what you're saying is you like a step away from them Eddie Kingston eyebrows, like the design, the 3 cuts in your eyebrows, trying to wild out.
I can't say that because his eyebrows are full, and that means he put the cuts into them. I'm missing half of my eyebrow hair throughout the whole eyebrow. Luckily.
Oh, so you just got it. It's like the top. It's like the long way.
It's almost like if someone put like a half guard on a set of clippers and just through my shit. That's what it looks like.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I also have scarring on my eye or whatever else. Like the same scars on my arm you can see, or if you watch from the stream, it's on my eye too. But it's not as bad as bubbling up and blisters right here. But I'm in a good mood because I'm not gonna be alive. Once that shit lit on fire and it got my arm in my eye, I ducked out the way and I immediately ran because I thought the tank was gonna blow up. So
damn,
I'm not gonna be. Luckily, it just stopped. The whole thing, the regulator finally did with his job and not, instead of scold me, not blow up. it stopped. It did half its job, but yeah. So I'm in a good mood.
Brookhaven says James got hit with a fireball, fucking around with the wizard.
Okay, by Jericho. Yeah, this is the kind. Actually, yeah, I forgot to tell you. That's the cover story. Like the interview will be coming out where I ran up on Chris Jericho, I asked him where was he on January 6th, and then he hit me with a fireball and ran off. Yeah, that's what happened. But anyway, yeah, nigga got hit with a Hadouken.
Hell no. That's great.
That's fucking hilarious.
This made a step away from over there being with Stevie. You know, not Nick.
Yeah, kind of. Well, in one eye anyway. I'd have been out here like Danielson.
Yeah.
With the whole show patch.
Look, you show with this patch on One Nation Radio, that shit. Niggas will be screen capping that shit forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But another thing we'll probably remember forever is what a legendary night in women's college basketball. I've been a long time, women's basketball fan pretty much since I was a kid, just, sporadically in and out, and really enjoying the rise and profile of, not only the college game, but the W and different players that have come along. But man, that LSU Iowa game, that shit was so high level last night. I felt like I was watching like the Cavs and the Warriors or some shit. It was a great game, man, and it was like tied at halftime. The first there was changes of momentum. There was people just getting cooked, people getting exposed, people like doing the cooking, and I just thought it was just such a there's a big three on LSU of Angel Reese, Flau'jae Johnson, and Haley Van Lith. Caitlin Clark walked in the arena and said, "Motherfuck the big three, it's just big me out here." 41 points, 12 assists, 7 rebounds.
7 or 8 rebounds, yeah.
Like, this was dominance. This was greatness. This was like seeing like, yeah, man. And of course, LSU and Iowa has, they have all the backstory coming into it, all right. The other elements, the economic anxiety, the racial pride element of this thing.
Yeah, that was a part, which is also funny because of who's coaching LSU at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of that. But I think when it came down to it, it was really just basketball, and it was two teams that, were competitive with each other. There wasn't like true, like it seemed like there weren't like dirt, like the game wasn't a dirty game or anything like that. It was like it was a real competitive game. It was what Caitlin Clark did to Haley Van Lith, like she whooped this girl like a dominatrix. Like it. I was wondering, do we have to check the unders for Haley Van Lith? Does Haley Van Lith have some type of parlay going? Is there some white on white crime here going on? Is Haley Van Lith a double agent? These are all things I was wondering. But
like, I'm gonna come out here and I'm going to defense of the racism my teammates have faced all year in the year that I've been at LSU, and then that'll finally rope them in, and then I'm gonna lay it down when it costs absolute at the worst possible time. This ain't pro wrestling. This ain't no soap opera. Get out of here.
Diabolical. But yeah, like, there were a lot of people questioning Kim Mulkey's strategy in all this. And I got to say, like, when they first came out, everyone looked so nervous on LSU because Iowa was, like, threatening to blow their doors off at the beginning. Like, there was immediate bucket scored on Van Lith. They yanked her. The girl they put in, I think, was Poa. She immediately got, like, crossed up by Clark. Looked like she was going to make her fall. Caitlin Clark hits a 3 in her face, and then from there it's just like, they're bringing more people back in, but predominantly, Van Lift like really, got whooped in the third quarter. Yeah. But overall, like I thought Caitlin Clark was sensational. I think she's just another level than like I there were a lot of people upset at the coverage that goes into this stuff. Say, why does Caitlin Clark get all this attention as compared to like Angel Reese? I'm sorry, man. Like, I think this is two different qualities of player, and Angel Reese has her strengths, but like Caitlin Clark is the one that's selling the tickets. Caitlin Clark is the mover and the shaker of this shit.
It's
like she has the offensive like talent to where it's like it's fun to watch.
That's what I was getting at. That's what I was going to say. Like, if I can understand your argument about level of success of a player, I guess, because it's a team sport and she won and Angel Reese won, even though she was like, I think last year national champion, she was fourth on her team in scoring. Whatever. Like, she's going to be a top 5 pick in the W draft, right? Whenever she comes out. Fine. Whatever. The thing for me is that, like, when people were doing the last year's national title game, when people were upset with Angel for doing the Tony Ayo thing to Caitlyn, it was like, all right, well, like, you're on a much more talented team than her. So people, and everybody else knew that. So a lot of people attack this woman, even though it's like, this happens in every national title game in every fucking sport. Like, we don't do this when Georgia blew the doors off of TCU when they were stunned on them. That happened. No one cared. But because it's women, they do this thing where, like, women are not supposed to behave that way, which is bullshit. It's competitive sport. Like, their blood, their sweat, their tears, their effort, their missed loved ones and being away from home don't matter the same way it is for these dudes. Like that. So that all blew up on Angel Reese. She's had to deal with that for a year. And then it turned into people to come into her defense but not defending her in the way that they should by talking about like this difference of celebrity around both of them. And it's like, well, they're both getting huge NIL money. They both came back because they stood to make more money off NIL than they did in the W. I get what you're saying, but it's misguided, or your defense is misguided, and it makes you sound like you don't know what you're watching. And it's like I get why you're defending her, and I'm with you, but defend her on the part of where she's an athlete, she's allowed to be competitive, talk shit and talk trash. That's what athletes do in competitive situations. They didn't do none of that. They went
it's not like Caitlin Clark had a problem with it. Right.
It's not it gets to like when they talk about, Sabrina in the W or Brianna Stewart or her right now, Caitlyn right now, is like, why is she getting all this attention? Because she just set the career points record. That's why. Because she has range that we've never seen anybody in the women's game have. Even Sabrina, who was is a transcendent player in her own right in that way, from a shooting perspective. So it's like she's taking this level from like we're seeing Ray Allen in the W right now, and like there's Steph Curry right here in front of our eyes, and she's stayed off a year from going to the W. So it's like that's why she's getting this attention. And is there definitely, because this is a white woman that is what do you call it? Heteronormative presenting? Absolutely. But I don't know what she has to apologize for. I don't know what you stand in the game by acting like she's not a sensation.
Yeah, I just don't. And there's like a lot of hate, like on like people hating on her game, like Cheryl Swoops was talking a bunch of noise.
It's like for players that
WNBA players,
former W players that sound like when we have to hear Shaq and Barkley and say that dumb shit every other week.
It's in every fucking genre. It's like the newness.
Wrestling too, right?
Wrestling too, like it's like, yo, man, like I don't know like what they were thinking, but like you don't lose that ability to shoot. Like, will there be some kind of adjustment? I don't know, possibly, but historically,
obviously the play is so much more talented, right?
Yeah,
we see,
well, historically, the superstars in, you know, college women's basketball, that shit translates to the WNBA
way more than it ever did from college basketball for the men's side to the NBA. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And like Caitlin Clark is not doing this in Connecticut. She's not doing this for Pat Summitt, God rest her soul. Right. She's not doing this in Louisiana Tech. She's not doing this in LSU and, you know, some of the other dynasties that we've seen. Like Stanford, South Carolina with their loaded team. She's doing this by herself about midway through the game. I had sent a voice message to group chat, you know, at James and I'm in. I was like, look, I can see how this is going. And sometimes I'm pretty good at this, figuring out like which way the game's going to go. I was like, if Caitlin Clark gets an ounce of help, they'll win. Like if somebody can hit a three a time or two or make a layup or whatever, I was like, if she gets that, they'll win. Like, but if not, LSU's going to run off on them. And what happened was she found, you know, the people with her passing ability, with her ability to get past the first defender and make the person that's in drop coverage make a decision. It's like, are you going to close in on me or are you going to let me have it at the rim? And for a while, Angel Reese was blowing that shit up in the first half. Like she was like, you know, it was like a sword damn near. And then she would like shriek to the rim. But Caitlin figured all that shit out. Like
it was, I only watched the second half because I couldn't get home in time to the game to see the game because I didn't know what time the game started. And all of a sudden I see you messaging me about the game and I'm like, I just got to the gym. I'm like, fuck. I gotta run somewhere real quick and then get back to the game. So actually I watched the whole second half.
It was real interesting in the first quarter.
Right. So I missed. So I heard that Angel Reese got like rolled an ankle or something like that. So I learned about this after the fact, but I'm watching the game and I'm just like, this is only my second or third time watching her play. And I'm just watching, I'm like, she's not moving as well as she used to. And also, like, every time she's getting the ball in the post and they keep trying to, I don't think they made a concerted effort to get her the ball, but it felt like there just wasn't much to what she had as far as lift or you know, answers once she turned over her shoulder. It looked like a lot like when you watch bad college post players get the ball and they just throw that, you know, turn over shoulder, and they shoot it from their elbows by their hip when they get the shot up. It's like, that's not, pass the ball back out and give it to someone who knows what they're doing. It looked like that at times with her when she also been graded because she also had like the old Grady girl that's a stiff guarding her a lot, so she couldn't do nothing. Yeah. And also a lot of times like you're just watching the game and you're like, all right, this team is more talented LSU, top to bottom. You're watching it. Like Van Lith didn't have a great game guarding her, but like she still would look competent when she had the ball at times. Like, Angel Reese defensively, while she didn't have much of a post game that game or whatever else, and maybe I'm being unfair to trying to compare her to the people she's going to have to play in the W eventually. When I'm like, dude, like, Asia and Breanna Stewart's going to kick her ass. But it was a bad ankle when I'm watching. I'm watching from like, that's one of the things I like about about college basketball, as you mentioned, like the correlation for stars is like, I'm already can have an idea of like what I saw of so many of the women in the tournament in prior years and compare them to like where they kind of track and what they will be when they get to the W. And I'm just like, who do I have to play against? So I'm thinking of like, all right, Angel Reese, that's power forward in the W. All right, she have to get some Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson gonna eat her alive if that's what she had. But I didn't find out until later that she had hampered ankle. So I'm being a little bit unfair here, but I still think that, like, defensively she'll be a great defensive force in the W. But I wonder what she's gonna look like offensively. But like Caitlin Clark is this thing where like she has this level of range, and you see the ability to, you see someone that shoots that much, and you just assume, all right, she's a ball hog, she's going to just jack up any shot in the world. And you see her like get the ball on rebound, and then initiate the break by giving up the ball with a skip a head pass, and it's like she's willing to come off the ball when necessary, and she's she's just confident, bring the ball up, passing off, going to the corner or whatever else when it's not time for her to get the ball. It's just, unless it's the Martin girl slashing to the basket, nobody else seems to be competent on that Iowa team at that at a Final Four championship level. And I'm just like, all right, I'm glad that she got this W, but you know, she plays UConn, she gets past UConn, there will be South Carolina sitting there. She ain't getting past South Carolina, but it's gonna be fun to see because it is almost like a one man or a two person team. her and Martin. And it was just really fun to watch her just basically just look against a team that was national champions a year ago. Like she looked like the best, like a woman amongst kids. That's what she looked like. It was funny. It was like, not funny, but it's interesting to watch that because, like, you know, she's still a guard, and it's still weird to see, for me, even, you know, to see guards dominating this way on a basketball court, like, from that far out. You know, it'd be one thing if it was like a, trying to think. If this was like a Tarazi type situation, where it's like, okay, she's in control, she has a strength in footwork advantage, similar to when we think about Kobe or whatever else. It's flop the Steph thing. It's the Steph thing all over again for the women's game, and it's like, well, I thought we'd have seen that with Sabrina, and it's like, it's a whole nother level. So I'm really interested to see the futures for everybody involved. I thought Flau'jae Johnson, like, I thought that she, you know, I thought she did her best, and I thought that she probably should have been guarding Caitlyn, but it would have been at the expense of the offense. So I think that's the reason why they decided
she's
to
a dog in ISO.
And let Van Lift go out there and get torched.
Yeah, she's a awesome player in ISO. Like, you can just see, like, all the moves like that she has. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. There's like a Dwayne Wade like ability. It seems like, you know, from 15 feet and closer. Mm-hmm. And you know, I wasn't as offensively impressed with Reese. But like you said, like, I thought there was like a Tristan Thompson like element to her, like, on defense.
Dude, you have to explain that because people don't remember.
Yeah, because like where Tristan Thompson can get back in drop coverage, close space, and then also like get out on the 3-point line and defend like people way smaller than him.
Yeah,
I saw all that in Angel Reese. So like, but yeah, man, like, you know, Kim Mulkey take the L, get smoked. You know, get smoked.
This man light up a Bayou pack.
Yes. You know, get smoked. You know, find one of them funny jackets. You know, and
the crazy part is that wasn't like, she must have knew that it was serious time. She didn't. She wore her least.
She wore just regular green.
Her least ridiculous outfit of like the tournament that I've seen. And you know, the last couple years she's been wearing some bullshit. Like the way she, like, was it last year when she had like the flamingo feathers on her shit? Was that last year? Yeah, man. Like, she dressing like a wacky game show host. Like, she dressing. You know, I've seen people say that she dressed like Ric Flair. I'm like, I'm sorry, I hate to tell you this. In the 2035 WWE Hall of Fame, we will see Charlotte Flair wearing this shit. She will have the same exact shit on.
Yes.
Or 2045. That's a little unfair to Charlotte. But yeah, she will be dressing just like this. So get ready.
Then I caught some of the second game too. Thought that was a really high level game too. And that was down to the wire. A little bit more, like the LSU Iowa win was kind of like, it was kind of a comfortable win for Iowa. It was
a game where you thought that the more talented team was eventually gonna make a run, but then the run never came. And then like, it's like, wow, they never like had a championship run or whatever. Like, I think they got it within single digits once or twice, but then like Caitlyn will make a play and it was like, it just kept it out of reach.
Yep. UConn and USC, man, you talk about just offensive talent all over this thing. UConn came in, they just looked so like a well-oiled machine. That's that Gino Auriemma programming. I love UConn, grew up rooting for them, so big Diana Taurasi fan here. Yeah. So I thought it was, you know, I thought Paige Beckers was just like, with the ball, the way she would get around, it was like, man, what if Rajon Rondo could shoot? You know, like
it's funny because Rondo like officially retired today. That's funny.
Yeah. And then like Juju Watkins, like I saw like a lot of, and I'm comparing them basically to NBA players for you know, people to really get an idea kind of what we're talking about quickly. Yeah. But Juju Watkins felt like she's got like kind of like a Paul Georgian thing. All the handles, like smoothness, like with the jump shot form and like, you know, coming off the dribble with it. I was like, oh, she kind of plays like a dude, which is, you know, the highest compliment I can, you know, kind of give. Like, there are a lot of people that I used to think, you know, were like that. There was a player, I forgot, she was on the Shock. Her name was like Deanna something, and it was like in the mid 2000s. I can't. Her last name escapes me. She used to have braids, super raw. Who else? Diana Taurasi, of course. Like these, like I thought, USC like looked great. Like they had length at every position, and they're only going to get better. They've got the number 1 recruiting class in the nation coming in, and Juju Watkins is awesome. Like she's just gonna have to wait her turn though, because like I said, UConn was like a well-oiled machine. Paige Beckers, I think she had like 28, 10, and 6. And it was just like, it was light. It didn't look like she was struggling for it at all. Like she was just like getting around. She's tough. She can shoot. Deanna Nolan, that's her name. Yep. Black Sabres Jr. Yeah, ironically from the D. But yeah, Paige Beckers is awesome. And it's Paige versus Caitlin, and that's a storyline in itself.
Yeah, it is, because like they're probably, if they were to come out right now, they'd probably be the 1 and 2 pick in the draft. And like also the part where it's like this story that I just found out about, because like as I said, like I'm a very, very casual fan of women's basketball, to the point where it's like Final Four time, I'm watching. Like I think this is my first like time watching an Elite 8 women's game in like a decade. Like I think the last time I watched an Elite 8 women's game was like when like Maya Moore and Tina Charles were at UConn, right? So to see that, and obviously you see the names go to W, you get to watch the playoffs every year. It's like, okay, like I think that this thing now where we're at, where like the men's game is like, so I think it's also helped with like part where like this men's class coming up, this next draft class, like the worst that some people have ever seen, is like, where are the stars? Where are these people that we've seen? The part where like the players don't have the kind of continuity that you normally see. LSU brought back everybody. Caitlin Clark came back. UConn's always going to be UConn. South Carolina's always going to be South Carolina. It's like there's some familiarity that like leads to like the common interest of fan interest, where it's like, I remember this person from last year, or X, Y, and Z. And like there's a star power element that like the college women's game has that the men just don't have this year. Like, and quite frankly, probably haven't had it since Zion. So
I'm gonna say probably won't be able to get it because niggas ain't about to play multiple years in college. Like typically, like and I don't care how out of control NIL gets. Like in the men's side, at least, the
and
women, different story.
And also another part where it's like, we've seen so many, like it's almost like the NXT thing we talked about. Like we've seen so many people be top stars and they go to the league and they die, right?
Yep.
Like that don't happen. Like that doesn't happen in the W in that way. So it's like, I think you get to see people and you get to build stars in that way, and I think that's helped. I think that's helped the W, where you see, so many of the people from the Final Four all those years ago, like a decade ago, still be in the W and still have like prominent roles in the league. And like, I just, and also the continuity of the W, where it's like these teams kind of sit together now in a way where it's like, all right, we know in 2 years or whatever, for most part, or 3 years, most part, like these teams are going to look totally different in the NBA. Whole different nucleus, unless it's like, you're lucky at the Celtics, right? But outside of that,
if you're somebody that's had those complaints about the NBA, I would suggest watching women's basketball.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get the team element of it. You're going to get like you're going to get the Olympic side. You're going to get like the Gino Auriemma versus Candace Parker type stuff, where it's like she went to Tennessee. Did I talk about that to you today? Nah, not today, but
okay. So I was this is what it was. I went to send a voicemail on the thing, and then I just left the voice message on one of the groups, and I left it alone. We were talking about like how the fuck did Gino like not get his ass on a plane to go like recruit, to go like offer Caitlin Clark, and like his whole thing was like you look back at the class that Becker and Reese and Clark were in, and Angel is like, so you got 3 people that look like they're going to be future WNBA Hall or All-Stars, all 3 of them. They were 3 of the top 5 players in the high school class. That's rare. Like, we don't normally have 3 in the same high school class, but he had 3 in the same class. She ends up at Iowa because Gino didn't get his ass on a plane to go see any of her games and didn't offer her a scholarship because he was so in on getting Becker. And it's like, you could have had both. Look here, genius. You're the one that had Swin Cash and Diana Taurasi and and Sue Bird together, and then you had Tina Charles and Maya Moore. Why do you leave this a chance? You could have had two of these. You could have had this championship and last year's championship if you had those two together. What happened here?
Yeah. Like, now you gotta hope she don't drive 50 on you.
Right. And now like I'm looking at this in the same way, like, cause I had no idea this was going on or any of this happened. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is like the same way that like Texas botched getting Jameis Winston. Mm-hmm. It's like he wanted to play Alabama. He's from Alabama. He didn't go to Alabama because he wanted to play baseball as well. So that left him down to only two real programs like from the South that like have historically good baseball programs. Well, that was Florida State and Texas. Texas didn't recruit Jameis because it's Texas. You could just get any top quarterback out of Texas. That's one of the best quarterbacks or whatever. So they didn't recruit out of state. So Jameis goes to Florida State, Heisman Trophy, national championship later, and you're like, how do you fumble this, Mac? You need to leave, Mac. So then it got me.
I don't think they're kicking Geno out, but
then I think to myself like, well, you know, that's how these little things like when you leave, when you don't, you know, go the extra distance for this shit is how this shit crumbles on you. Like you think of his contemporaries, right? And I mentioned the Jameis thing. Nick Saban got his ass in a helicopter to fly down to a Jameis game. Gino, now I understand women's sport, the women's side doesn't have the kind of support financially. But you mean to tell me, after all the damn Final Fours and national championships, that the UConn's women's Gino, he also coaching how many Olympic teams? You mean to tell me that he couldn't get his ass to Iowa to watch her play? It's just one of those things where it's like, all right, man, this kind of stuff is the kind of stuff you hear about Candace Parker and like, you know, when they left out Chini Ogumike's sister, that the one that was the MVP a couple years ago, and it's like, why was she not on the U.S. team? And it's like, Candace spilled the beans talking about how like, hey, like there's this kind of like UConn and not UConn thing that Gino's doing with like Team USA, and it pisses off the people that aren't UConn. And it's like, all right, these small little things leads to like down the line, someone's going to, you know, there are only so many of these elite women every year that you can identify, and who do you think they're going to talk to? They're going to talk to women in the W, women in college that are elsewhere besides UConn. This is what leads to small little things. It's like, you don't want to leave this kind of shit to chance. You want to follow drama next time.
You want to follow drama? Follow Team USA women's like rosters and shit. You will find like lots of intriguing things. Like, just like, hey man, yeah, it's a lot, man. I think it's a.
Are you a first team All WNBA and you didn't make the what?
You didn't make the team, like, huh? Like,
that's the thing with Chini's sister. Like, I can't pronounce her first name for this life of me. I think it's Neka, right? It's not spelled Neka.
Or it's like Naneka or something.
Okay, yeah, like it's two N's, but I always like it makes me pump fake when I say her name. So like, I was like, wait a second, she was all W.
Oh. And fortunately for everybody, we have an Olympic team this year.
Right. So, Caitlin's on it. And when they announced that Caitlin was on it and Sabrina's name was on it, the first two names, people got upset. And I was like, well, Sabrina was just
written like that.
Sabrina was just like the second best player in the finals last year. Like, what do we...
I'm sorry they're white. I'm sorry. Do y'all want me to apologize? Like...
I get why they're upset, but also media at this point is in the shitter and they have to do advertising, and like those two was popular. Like Asia's on a bag of chips. She doesn't have her own Nike shoe. Sabrina does.
Right.
You know, like,
and like the only time you really hear about Asia Wilson is like when she's having these like absurd celebrations after winning the title, and like she's like,
when she's hitting on Usher and Usher pull up,
cutting these wrestling she's cutting like these wrestling promos like after the on the podium and shit. That's it.
Right, and I'll say this, like, given her personality, and you know, because I remember listening to her on the Paul George podcast, like, the Sabrina shoes are fire. We talked about it before, like. They basically said, hey, we're done with Kyrie. We're going to give all those good designs we gave Kyrie, we're giving them to Sabrina. But yeah, like I remember listening to her on the Paul George podcast. Like, bro, she's a great ambassador for the game, super charismatic, funny as hell. And it's like, she should be getting those looks. But it's the same thing as that happened with Serena and Maria Sharapova. No matter how many times Serena bust her ass, she would get more advertising money. It's white supremacy. we all know this. But my party is like, when y'all get into harping on this person ain't that good, y'all need to chill out. Y'all need to chill out.
Yeah, this is not Marina Sharapova getting whooped every time. This is Caitlin Clark doing the whooping.
Right.
Like Sabrina Ionescu doing the whooping.
Right.
You know, Brianna Stewart doing the whooping.
Well, except for Game 5, but.
Well, yeah.
Except for Game 5. Stewie just. She had that lemon booty bad in game 5. She did. And it was compounded by, Adrian Wilson said, I'm not losing tonight. We're into this. We're into this shit. I'm going to go see Usher. I'm going to go see Usher.
Oh, but yeah, man. Yeah, we'll move on from the women's talk. I could.
We got
call
what 34 minutes talking about the W and talking about women's basketball.
Man,
we can do it
best
all.
In the business. Best in the business. You can't go nowhere. You can't pull up the rest of the podcast and they give you 30 minutes on women's basketball. I dare you to find them. Oh man. So CM Punk did a interview with Ariel Helwani yesterday, I believe, yesterday afternoon, Monday, right? And he opened up the same jar of leftovers that we've talked about on this show. I felt like tonight it was kind of going to be like a greatest hits for us, of basically going over, everything that we've previously said, kind of with a couple new twists, Mr. Guaranteed contracts. A lot of people were saying there was, just odd rhetoric being, told throughout this thing. And then, I started thinking about this thing, James, and I was like, let's see. Let's add all these elements together. Brian Windhorst with the fingers here, right?
Uh-huh.
This is One Nation Radio. There's a pyramid above me in the logo. I wonder what's going on here. These are the factors. 1, CM Punk can't wrestle this year. He's injured. He will not be having a match. When did they schedule this interview? Oh, the Monday of WrestleMania week. Oh. 3, who they scheduled this interview with? Their guy, Ariel Helwani.
Yep.
4, what are they doing this, what else was coming out? Oh, some Vince McMahon, more stuff with the Vince McMahon stuff was dropping that day with the love letters and, all that other stuff. What is all this? Something stinks. This smells like a rollout. I know a rollout when I see one. CM Punk did not wrestle a match this year, or will not wrestle a match at WrestleMania this year. So his match this year was the Ariel Helwani interview. It's not the commentary that's coming on Saturday night or Sunday night, whenever the fuck it is, because he didn't even bother to really get into that too much. This was his WrestleMania match. Go on there. You're in a safe, controlled environment that they literally later were running angles on with Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Treating him like he was goddamn Jay Leno out there. They had this man come out there and was like, hey, go ahead. Hey, you can talk about whatever you want, seemingly. Just don't get yourself sued. And if you want to do a drive-by at AEW, by all means, we'll do that. Whatever. Throw your hands up. Didn't matter. My only question is, why did they stop there? Or I hope they don't stop here with Ariel Helwani. When did they book him to go on the Jim Cornette Experience? Just go all the way with it.
Has Cornette and Brian Last ever had a WWE signed talent on the show?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but there was a couple things I think I think we should just jump right to the guaranteed contract thing, because that thing is like really blown, kind of the hole in this whole conversation with this, because he was talking about it from one perspective, but when you bring it up, it's like, all right, people can receive the information, you know, however they see fit. I feel like, you know, it was his idea that, you know, if contracts weren't guaranteed, people would have to work harder to fill the buildings and stuff like that. So this kind of lines up with, you know, CM Punk being the arbiter of hard work. You know, like when the whole thing with Jack Perry going on vacation before, and he, you know, brought up in this interview, like, you know, a guy wrestles once and then they do pre-tapes and, you know, they, you know, 4 weeks pass and nothing happens for him.
I want to know what, like, people's obsession it is with, like, the wrestlers being in the building, but not on TV. If they have nothing for you and nothing is planned for you, why the fuck must y'all insist on everyone being there? Flying in for who? For what?
I don't know, man.
Like,
but
this
like,
is the entertainment industry, right? Understand there's a difference between a locker room for sports and a locker room for wrestling. And also like a set for a TV show, film, what have you. There's call sheets or whatever else, and people don't need to be there or not be there based on whether or not they're on the call sheet for that particular day when it's movies. So I don't know why. So for that particular, in which CM Punk has done film and TV before, so I don't know why he's tripping from that perspective. But like this part where it's like you need to be there, and it's like, well, even in sports, when people like don't need to be there, they just won't because there's no point in flying out. It makes no sense to me. Who gives a shit? I don't get it. And this has been this thing that's been going on where it's like, whether it was Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker about the fucking back injury, whether it's now this is like, if they've already handled their obligations to the promotion and the TV properties on the promotion, why the fuck do they need to be there? For who? For what? Why? No one's ever. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's so weird. It's so strange. It's so outdated, antiquated, where like everybody needs to be there no matter what. Like, for why?
Then with the whole deal with the guaranteed contracts, he basically was like just espousing just the like, we've talked about hypocrisy as in regards to CM Punk before, and it being like a thing for him. He like revels in it at this point. This was Aaron Rodgers-esque.
He's not, you know, as bad as Aaron Rodgers, but yeah, I get you.
It was like such a lack of self-awareness. It was like the guaranteed money that you're bringing up and you're quote unquote railing against this entire system. Essentially, this shit was designed. Like, I thought it could have just been inserted into the WCW Death of WCW WWE mass-produced DVDs,
right? Where
the wrestlers were being essentially, you know, putting the company line out to essentially pay them less money,
right?
You know,
and
without
also,
guaranteed money, he wouldn't have no business to come back to. Right. Without guaranteed money, all these injuries that he got, he's still getting paid on that. I don't see CM Punk trying to give that money back. Yeah. I don't see this guy like going through and he's like, you know, he might owe companies money if it's not for guaranteed money. It might cost him to go to work if it weren't for guaranteed money.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it because, like, I get why if you're somebody that lived in the Monday Night War situation and you on the WWF side, you get or you understand or you feel that like the guaranteed money made people lazy over there because look at Hogan, look at Kevin Nash, look at all the people that were out here getting more money every time they were told they had to do a job, and they would get Dolores on the phone to say this person gets extra $50K because they had to lay down for somebody, and all that shit. Yeah, I get that. The ethos of AEW is so fucking different amongst the locker room and the level of effort that's put into matches and angles and all that kind of stuff, and the amount of collaboration and Like, even while to the point where, like, if you are somebody that ever sticks up for yourself and don't want to do a job at a particular point, we call you out for the once or two times you do it, and act like you are like this albatross around the company needs to leave. The fans do. So it's so weird. It's so weird. Like they're AEW and WCW are nothing alike other than they both run on Turner. That's it. So I don't get it at all. It's nonsense. It is a lot of what you said at the beginning, when this stuff started happening, when he left. Like, he has an outdated sense of what pro wrestling is outside of WWE, or what wrestling used to be, and he's still stuck on it. And the thing is, like, he quickly realized that, like, the way that people make this thing work in AEW, make it work totally different to how he does it, and he has not settled on the part where, like, even though he says it, that, like, there are different ways to do these things, he does not agree on when they don't do it his way. Like, he wants to do MJF and CM Punk, and it's mostly about the storylines, and you get 2 matches three matches if you include the Wardlow thing, over the span of, 6 months? He wants to do that, right? He doesn't actually want to do, like, the Will Ospreay way, the Kazuchika Okada way, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to do that. And I don't blame him, because that would not be to his strong suit. But at the same time, as he does it, as he says this stuff, he's not realizing that, like, the way that this is like a coaching thing, where he's like, most of the wrestlers at AEW get over doing it this particular way. So they're going to do their way to get over, because they've gotten over doing it that way. There are MJFs, there is Adam Copeland here, there's a Christian here, there is a Swerve here that can get over in that way. There's Adam Page and John Moxley that get over doing it the TV Americanized style way. And they all got over. That doesn't mean that, like, those people only do it their way. There are other times that he's go out there and have a match and let it rip. And, like, I think he got in the room and realized, like, he couldn't change the way this company worked, and was like, all right, I gotta find a way to get out of here. And then when he also alluded to, as Rich mentioned, when you go through the almost 2 years at this point of, like, all this stuff that's going on with CM Punk, like, he wanted to come back to WWE in 2019, and he actually admitted it in this thing where he's like, I want to come back. And I knew it. Because the thing he was talking about, right? He kept saying, like, I think about it from a Booker perspective, right? And it kept coming back at different times. He kept saying it from Booker's perspective. Like, you know, I wanted to come back. I almost thought I was ready to go. And then I did the TV show to do the analyst thing for Fox Sports or whatever else. And he thought that could be a backweight channel to get into. And then it never went through again. So then he decided, like, I want to do wrestling again. And he decided to go to AEW. And then, like, you talk about, like, the whole brawl out fight or whatever else. When he came back, he said, like, hey, one thing I actually believe him, like, given the way they all blew up and the way he ended, he did not want to come back. And when Tony Khan made that show to put all the ex-WWE and problematic people that have heat with the wrestling, like, they basically made Saturday Night solitary confinement over there, like, he said, the shit wasn't gonna work. He was right. The shit wasn't gonna work. We all said, hey, man, this shit ain't gonna work. Because, like, CM Punk's the only real star there. And he's gonna be wrestling people that aren't stars. He got to make stars.
Also didn't give him what he wanted. They didn't give him MJF.
Right. They froze him out. The rest of the top stars froze him out. And that's what I was saying at the time. Keep noticing that none of the actual top stars except for CM Punk is on this Saturday show, except for that's a top act, except for FTR. And FTR is a tag team, so it's not the same thing. Like, they froze him out. He self-destructed. He got his way he finally found a way to get out of there. He's now back where he always wanted to be back in 2019. And, you know, from his perspective, he got what he wanted. Whether or not he destroyed another company, he didn't care. He wanted out. Once he got to MJ or the Adam Page thing, and Page did some shit on air that they didn't cover when they talked about what they're gonna do in their promo. He wanted out ever since then, and that's where we were. And it's like, all right, like, to hear perspective, I think hearing perspective is still worthwhile, because I still hear stuff and I'm just like, some of this stuff I'm like, that's total bullshit, and for some sides I'm like, I can see why he thought that way, and he handled it totally fucking wrong. But other times, like, that's flat out just you flip flopping on wherever you are now. You're in your position based off of like the results. But at the time you weren't on this because like him talking about I don't want to do dirt sheet shit. I don't want to.
Why are you doing this internet stuff on TV?
I don't want to do this internet stuff on TV, and it's like, that's
your whole gimmick.
I'm sorry, CM Punk. Wasn't your last line from when you came back on Raw was that I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money? Like, you literally cut that promo talking about the $1 bill Phil thing to get the Bucks line to do the thing of the work shoot stuff to get the nerds into getting that program because you want the program because of the part where like they know there's real life tension there because there was a fight. Don't give me that you're not doing the insider shit.
There was a whole ESPN interview that coincided with the launch of Collision. There was the off-air promos about Heyman Page where you were apologizing later and all this other shit and
Rich,
routinely.
Brawl started because of the press conference. In the press conference, what did he do? He exposed his business by talking about the Colt Cabana shit to begin with.
Like
He's
shit that like
it was just funny because he talks about the Cornette shit and Brian Last all that kind of stuff, and that's another huge staple for Cornette. One of his biggest flaws is he talks about how much he hates the Russo shit for exposing the business. You are trying to double cross people because they know certain things, and you are trying to subvert their expectation because they're smart to the business by playing on the part where they know stuff. And then at the same time, you hear Cornette basically say, "Well, go out there and screw Bret Hart." Then you did the worst thing that ever happened as far as exposing the business. It's the same thing. Like you talk about the hypocritical thing. It's like you're picking and choosing who can expose the business and who not based off of do you like them or not, or if it's you or if it's not.
Had a lot of comments on Tony Khan and Jack Perry as well. The stuff with Tony Khan, came, in the fallout of Jack Perry. He basically told him, "You're a clown. I quit." He said AEW is not a real business. There's also like, he's saying he's not a boss. He's a nice guy and all this other stuff. And I don't know, man.
I actually agree with. Like, Tony Khan has been way too nice with this. Like, he's not been nearly as cutthroat as he should have been. And like and I'll still say that while we get to the part where like they finally made their first wave of cuts ever. Later in the show. So yeah.
Yeah. The whole deal with Jack Perry is like, it seemed like just a situation that that arose, but that also had to do with, CM Punk trying to play, the PR, because like the reason why the Real Glass, Crimea River shit, why people knew what Jack was talking about was because CM Punk through his back channels was going to the media for a CM Punk pick-me-up story after he was in deep shit over that shit with Hangman where niggas was getting banned from the building and he was talking shit about Hangman Page, called him a peg warmer, all this shit. So he was like, all right, it's Wednesday, I gotta drop my weekly story to show what type of leader CM Punk is. And then you talk about Jack Perry, and then I imagine when you're Jack Perry, it's like, all right, because we talked about it at the time. It was like, if you're Jack Perry reading this, it's like, hold on, what does this do for me? It's like, if you had a conversation with me and all that stuff, it's like, it's not about you, hey, CM Punk leader guy. It's like, the narrative. These kids don't want to listen. And like, it's the easiest thing to weaponize against like the youth on the roster. Like, you don't want to listen to people. You don't want to do it this way. And fans it's like red meat, like for fans to come down on these people. Like when they found out Heyman Page wasn't necessarily interested in taking advice. This is like when Regal came in, like people were like, they got Regal in there and he can be like a booker and all this. I'm like, that's not real. Like, I don't like this is stupid.
And the other part about it is like, I'm sorry, I thought Jerry Lynn has been back there the whole time.
Right, there's plenty.
I thought Tony Schiavone's been back there the whole fucking time. Like
plenty of people.
Right. Like I thought Dustin was back there the whole time. I thought Dean Malenko was back there the whole time. Like there's people that go back further in more old school, if you will, and grew up in a rougher, tougher American pro wrestling landscape than CM Punk ever did, that are back there and have been back there the whole fucking time. You don't hear a peep from them. Chris Jericho's on the roster, by the way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so what? Are we just like, it's a new sheriff in town and they ain't going by your way, even though there's like all this other veteran locker room presence. Big Show's been back there. I'm sorry, Paul White, whatever you want to call him. Mark Henry's been back there this whole time. Like, there's been a bunch of old school motherfuckers from the last 30 years, 40 years for pro wrestling have been back there. Stings was back there too. Like, what is happening? I don't get it. And it was funny, like, when he did the whole thing talking about, like, his quote-unquote friends, and he didn't want to name his friends, and then he goes on to name, like, 5 friends. He mentioned Darby, he mentioned Sting, he mentioned Danhausen, FTR. I think he also mentioned Brody King, which is interesting, because he also mentioned, it also mentioned, like, you know, House of Black at one point, and then he mentioned Brody King's actually close friend. I'm like, I bet people, I'm glad he said Brody King, because if you hadn't said that, people would have been like, oh, is that goddamn Malachi Black? I'm glad he's naming names. You know, they be on Malachi ass. So, yeah, it's just, it was a lot, because obviously it was like an hour and 50-minute podcast where we covered a lot. I think they first started on to the timeline on him coming back to WWE post AEW. So, it was worth
another
a listen.
big
I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah, worth a listen. Another big part, like, he kind of implied that he hurt himself during the fight.
Yep,
or whatever.
He certainly did.
And, you know, he tried to, he basically, like, he walked up to the stove, leaned over the stove, and was like, I'll touch it, but I'm going to back up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and if you want to think I said this, I did. But,
right.
You know, like, and that's like a case where it's like, all right, we know that everyone's NDA'd up on that, right? And another one of his quotes was, you know, I didn't sign an NDA for anything I did wrong. So, like, that's that Aaron Rodgers doublespeak right there.
Right.
That's like that, I'm immunized. You know, not vaccinated, I'm immunized.
Right.
Like, a man who never thinks he's done anything wrong, of course, this would be his position on the NDAs.
Right.
He said, no one from AEW talked to him for months. Like, you know, did his whole deal, whatever. But it's, you know, it's a lot, man.
Also, he talked about, like, there's a 9-day difference between WWE's protocols and procedures for injuries and AEW's, and he had to call people to do rehab and all that kind of stuff. When it was this triceps that was torn, I already knew what I needed to do because they told me what I needed to do or whatever. So I'm just like, all right, bro. Like, I ain't really trying to hear this, seeing that, like, you're one of the few people in AEW, like, that was on screen talent that actually had, like, health insurance. I ain't really trying to hear that from you.
Yeah.
Like, do you think Darby Allin would, every time he ends up getting himself fucked up, needs to, you know, has to figure this out? Oh, he does every single time? Okay. Maybe you should too.
Yeah.
And he ain't got insurance. Ain't nobody putting him on their nobody's paying for Darby Allin's insurance. Nobody. Ain't nobody.
This is really 4D work from Nick Khan, Dwayne Johnson, whoever set this up, because, you know, Nick Khan, CAA.
That's another line he said. That's another line.
This whole reason, like Nick Khan has been the key to all this shit.
He said 2019, you know, 2019, he was signed, he was rep by CAA. Nick Khan was still at CAA. WWE was still with CAA at the time, got him that new TV deal for SmackDown. And then they hired Nick Khan, and then it didn't go through, probably because Vince put his foot down and said, I don't want to bring him in. And then Nick Khan brought him in, and he said, like, if I know your no-compete call was right after you left AEW, I would have brought you in sooner. He said he called him, the Monday, the couple days before Thanksgiving.
Before Survivor Series, yeah.
Yeah, a few days before Thanksgiving, yeah. So it's like, all right, man. And then also mentioned, like, you know,
like, all this shit been linked up. Like, this shit was like, CM Punk was never supposed to come to AEW, and I feel better about it now. This shit was never supposed to, like, be a long-term thing. This was never going to be. When I interviewed Kenny Omega, one of the biggest things I took away from it, right, was how he was like, yeah, man, and, you know, the Young Bucks have also made similar, like, comments where it was like, if there's a legacy they're trying to leave with this shit, and what they're trying to do in AEW is help get other wrestlers paid, and for young wrestlers that come along have more options and stuff like that. So when you got a guy talking about guaranteed contracts and all this stuff, and this is the worst thing that happened to the business, these the word I'm looking for, these ideals are at odds with each other. Yeah. No wonder they fucking exploded. And that's just one of the things that made this whole thing explode. This is like, a lot of insecurity, a lot of, skirting around between, Dave Meltzer, who, talked about this whole situation again, basically exposed CM Punk talking to him and explaining how ratings work to him because CM Punk, out of the business for so long, didn't understand these things. But, in Punk's case, everyone's a liar but him. That's how he protects the veneer of whatever, he can sell his fans and all that, which I get the game. But it is a game at the end of the day. Everybody's playing something. And ironically, the one side that has amplified this shit time and time again has continued to do this because it is the only song that this person knows how to play. This is the only thing now that they are doing to drive interest. Whether it was 6 minutes after Brawl Out or All Out, whatever, 6 weeks, 6 months. Now we're like, 18 months. Hangman Page still not saying shit. Kenny Omega still not saying shit. The Young Bucks are having fun on screen. Largely have gotten away from this shit.
Well, didn't they give somebody a Starbucks gift card like a couple weeks ago?
That's what I said. A couple weeks ago. They've gotten away from this shit.
Okay, look, I still remember that match they had in Chicago during the best 7. All right, they know how to show their ass, but they don't say nothing. They just show their ass.
Hey, it was fresh. It was like, if you want to respond, you free to wrestle like the Young Bucks. Let's see you try it. CM Punk. Let's see you try you can't escape. I'd love to see it. Try the buckshot. Oh, he did try the buckshot lyric. Yeah.
See, I think the thing for me is like, this is so clearly he has issue with Hangman and the Young Bucks. He doesn't actually have an issue with Kenny Omega. And Omega don't care either. Omega's like, I was just there. I was just there. And this shit happened, man. And the motherfucker bit me, allegedly. So yeah. It's
like this nigga's playing the same song. It's like, how long? All right, you done went in public now and did it again, right?
Yep.
Like, you wasn't building up no storylines. Like, you wasn't talking about what you got going on in WWE. It was like, we knew what you was here for, man.
Well, he can't because he's old and he has a missing muscle in his arm, so it's gonna be months. Like, there's nothing where it's like, he don't like. I think he also alluded he don't know when he gonna come back. I'm like, bro, like you tore it like completely, and this is January. You ain't got no your
prognosis?
SummerSlam. Like what?
Yeah. Or Saudi Arabia.
I mean, that's gonna happen.
Crown Jewel.
I imagine that's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. Just I would suggest watching it so obviously you can kind of see this stuff and then just kind of remember the timeline of events here. And obviously there were so many.
I just choked him a little bit. You asshole.
What's up?
When he said I just choked him a little bit.
I choked him a little bit. Yeah.
I will say this: it still holds up my tweet about Samoa Joe at that time. That man said, let him go. You are not, Phil. You are not fucking up my Wembley match. It's not happening. Get your ass out here to wrestle.
Tony Khan, that's what Ariel should have asked. Did Tony Khan tell you to get the fuck out there and wrestle? I would have loved to know the answer to that.
Like, sound like a boss to me.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So I don't know, man. Like, if you want to call, man. Yeah, if you want to call CM Punk a hypocrite, all right, go ahead. Like,
I mean, it's all there.
He lives in it. He revels in it. It makes him stronger. It seems like so.
And the part that makes it so good, the part that makes it good is like you're watching this and like, I know the lies, but like I know where the lies are, the flat out lies. I'm like, bro, but he sounds like it's true. It's amazing. Like this is an amazing performance. Like this dude, I don't want to say he's sociopath.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Performance. That's exactly what this was.
Right.
It was a performance.
It was also the part where it's like he talked about like running into Vince before like this second news dropped. It was like, oh, you hugged him, but you knew that he had got ousted for fuckery. You knew he had got ousted for sexual fuckery anyway, with a fucked up power dynamic. You just know the details of it, and then he does and talks about the Benoit stuff and says like, yeah, man, like I knew this person, fuck them, they did terrible things. It's like, but you hugged this person knowing that he got ousted for doing fuckery. You just know the details. And then he actually mentioned, some of the stuff. I think he actually said the word shit.
He read
it. Like,
he read X and
it's like, hey man, like, all right. I don't think I'm gonna hug somebody that I find out that got ousted for that shit. Like I'm sorry, I ain't hugging Diddy. Not happening.
Well,
not doing it.
He made this remark about how he would not let Vince McMahon have a father-son relationship that Vince was kind of seeking with him. That we've heard many wrestlers talk about.
Yeah, he also mentioned Becky Lynch quote from like a month or two ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, I don't know, man. You walked back into that man's arms, though. So I don't, you didn't go for one of these, or a pound, or a head nod. Was that not an option? CM Punk, like
he wanted to come, he's wanting to come back into Vince from Vince McMahon's Pro Wrestling since 2019.
He wanted to come back into Vince McMahon Pro Wrestling so bad he started doing it on his own on Collision.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. AEW Dynamite last week. Let me pull my notes up on this. There were two big matches on this show.
Yeah. Takeshita and Swerve and Will Ospreay versus who did Ospreay face?
Will Ospreay.
He faced Shibata.
Katsuyori Shibata. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. And in the race, as I've termed it, between Swerve and Will for the the timeline, the zeitgeist, whatever. Man, I think it was Swerve and Takeshita this week.
Yeah, Swerve and Takeshita won this week. Not to say that I thought that there were some issues at points with as far as execution in the Swerve Swerve and Takeshita match, but that last kick out off of the Swerve stomp, that was like the best kick out I've seen this year so far. So like I loved it. Like, and normally when Swerve does the I'm hitting a big move to be kicked out of, I can see it come from all the way. This is the first time it ever got me. Mm-hmm. So I was really I thought it was a great match. I thought it was sensational, phenomenal in like the last 3, 4, 5 minutes of it. But yeah, I thought it was a great match. I don't think I've gave it a star rating, but like it's easy over 4.5, or it's easily 4.5 plus.
Yeah, I was so worked by this match. I totally bought the Stinger thing. Like we're off the I think it was a Brain Buster. And I was like, yo, is he like the way he like was holding the arm, Taz was putting it over on commentary real hard, and I was like, I'll just get worked. Like, and apparently, that was, the story of the match kind of. And it was like, yeah, like the closing sequence, as you mentioned on this thing, was like super top level. And it was like, just when it was like, it was like, you need this reminder of who this guy is, like goes in there and delivers. And that was a number one contender match. And, him and Joe is official. They got a contract signing this week. They've got a couple more weeks to build this thing up. Very interested to see, what kind of direction they take it, as far as like with the promos and all that. I think they really need something to stand out, because Danielson and Ospreay has been getting the bulk of the promotional push behind this pay-per-view. Yeah. With all the video packages. Obviously, this has been going back for almost a month now with Danielson and Ospreay. So they're starting this kind of like at a later pace, but they'll probably be able to peak it so that, probably the time the 21st comes, this thing will feel like hot as fish grease.
Do you think that is because they've already been like feuding each other ever since the draw between Hangman and Swerve? Do you think that's the reason why?
I think there had to be a way to get Hangman out of this and then like make it its own issue with Joe and Swerve without essentially exposing your hand too early.
But do you think the beatdown they did after that tag match, do you think that was enough or for now, or do you think like they have to put more gas on in the coming weeks?
I think they got to really like have a outstanding, contract signing. Like,
I agree.
As far as like, putting like.
But do you think they need even more than that?
Obviously, we know obviously we know like possibly. Okay. Depends how it goes. Like, if it's a home run, it's like
fair
enough. But it's a place like we all know Swerve has, kind of been mentioned that he wants to be the champion ever since, the Hangman feud's been started. So it's almost not, it's more about the belt than it is Joe. What I'm looking for is like, all right, I want to know why he wants to be Joe for this. Like, I want to know what Joe sees in him that where he's like, you gonna be good. You like, is your time's coming, but it's not today. That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like what I'm kind of looking for out of this. But I think we're getting a real start kind of this thing this week.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Shibata and Will Ospreay.
Will and Shibata. Yeah, this was obviously they did a callback kind of to talking about Ospreay when he faced Shibata when he was 23. He's a 30-year-old man now. Got a mortgage. He got a wife, kids, blah, blah, blah. And I thought this was awesome as well.
Yeah, I thought this was great. Look, man, the two matches that Shibata's had with Danielson and then now with Ospreay, like, do you think we'd ever see, like, obviously, he's been, Shibata's been back ever since he did that work, or that work angle with Kenta. Do you ever think we were going to get back to this point where like he could reel off matches like this at a consistent clip? Because I thought they were always going to be his gloves with him to where he couldn't do this. Remember when we had that match with Rita, was it 2 Wrestle Kings ago? And it was like, they can't come near his head.
Yeah. I remember like everyone was going so crazy for it. And we came on this show and we were like, we see what they're doing. Like there's clearly like this veil of protection on this. And it's like, all right, he gave this guy a fucking hidden blade, like in the front. Like, and he didn't like take something off it to where it was like, it's soft style or something like that. And it's like, all right, is he going at like, is he Shibata at his zenith anymore? No, like he's in his 40s or whatever. Like
matches or like, this is not like if you imagine like Katsuka Nakajima or Kano. This isn't that kind of brutal, but it's still like this is still way more than I ever thought he'd be able to do at this stage.
Like I consider like Shibata for me, he was always like this samurai warrior without the armor on. Like, and this is not that, but this is like still really fucking great. Like, and it's just like, all right, please get his visa issues figured out so he can wrestle in the United States and we don't have to just pull him out of mothballs when we're in Canada. Please. Like, I want to see like him. Like, I think they're gonna do him and Okada one day, and I think it's gonna be, very cool to see them step in the ring together again.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, they could do that. And I mean, yeah, that would be something.
All in? I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
I mean,
we'll see.
I mean, there's a lot of options for Okada at All In. A lot of options. I mean, there's a lot of options for Swerve, a lot of options for Okada, a lot of options for Will Ospreay. It depends on the health of a few people. Like, who knows, like, the situation, but like, with Moxley in New Japan or Danielson or the health of Omega, but like they seem to have a shot to be like to have it's crazy to say this, but like a much better card than All In was last year. Will it do a better gate or better attendance? I don't know, but like I think for sure, barring
not a real business
bad luck with injury, they'll have a better card, which is crazy to say because that's one of the better shows of the year, one of the best shows of the year.
Not a real business,
Yeah. He also made a funny joke about the turnstiles too. He did.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like all those little quips. Like these are quips I'm sure that are like passed amongst, that shit looked like it was real, like not planned, right? But it was like, kind of how we have, like, we set up each other's jokes and shit, right? Yeah. It's like, y'all been doing this before. This is a common.
Y'all have been talking off air.
Phrases.
Yeah.
These are common phrases. The Bucks fought Private Party. Not much notable about this match except
I'm about to say there was something very notable in that match.
Oh yeah. This was not the match of 5 years ago, and then like Nick Jackson bust his ass on the finish, literally losing a step.
Imagine you Nick Jackson and you do that hot tag routine where you do the kick, the flip over, the kick, the moonsault and all that kind of shit. And he was like, okay.
You've been doing this complicated shit for years.
Right. And now it's time for you to grab somebody's arm, take one step back, like the hokey pokey asked you, take one step forward and deliver a knee to a stationary target. This motherfucker slipped, and that man took a knee like Colin Kaepernick. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, bro, it was so funny, because it was such an out of character botch. Like, it'd be like if I saw like an Io Shirai botch or like an AJ Styles botch. Where I'm like, hold on, bro, or Hazuki botch. I'm like, hold on, bro, let me run this back. Because like, what the fuck happened?
He pulled that shit back
ever.
Bro, he pulled that shit back so hard. It was like he loaded that shit with everything he had, and then his foot was just like, no.
Bro,
like
I watched that. I saw it, died laughing, found it, went scouring the internet or Twitter to find it, found it, and I replayed it back 10 times trying to figure out what the fuck happened. And the only explanation is nigga slipped somehow. And like, it was so funny because like the camera cut right as you see Matt Jackson turn around and be like, bro, what the fuck's wrong with you? What happened? And then he cut away. It was so good.
Yeah. Bucks move on. There's Hook and Jericho have stuff they're leaving to next week. Whatever.
Whatever.
4-way for the TBS title shot. Willow, Statlander, Sky Blue, and Anna Jay. Willow getting the victory here, pinning Anna Jay with the Dr. Bomb. Mercedes on commentary.
This was a good match. A really good match.
Multi-women matches, 4-way is kind of like a tag match. So, like,
Right. And we've said this for, like, there are people, like, as singles wrestlers in the women's division in AEW, that's not really the thing. But in a tag situation, they just a whole nother level. Like, I believe between, like, Anna and Tay, Tay's a better singles wrestler. But, like, they had that match where they both bled. They had, I forgot, it was a street match or it was a lights out match. I can't remember what to call, but they had a match a couple years ago that was really good. And like you see in Britt Baker when she's in tag matches, she's another level. Like for some reason, I don't know if it's like it's easier, less things to think about or whatever else, less variables. But like a lot of the women in AEW that aren't necessarily good at singles. Or consistently good at singles, like they're much better and consistent as tags.
Yeah. Mercedes Monet was on commentary. So there's a rush, I think, to get her into action. Now.
Do we need to talk about it now?
There's this huge push, to
push from who?
I mean, the anti-Mercedes media, the anti-AEW media, the pretty much anybody. I could say him.
How does Dave not realize that like she's here but she's not cleared to perform yet? It seems kind of obvious to everyone else except for him, unless people are telling him something different and lying to him.
Like she made like she's done light physicality, like she's done like one move the entire time. If she is not cleared, I obviously don't think she should be wrestling or anything, but I think you got to keep her on the show. You got to like, there's a substantial investment there. Like you got to like keep building her up. I'm not as worried about it. Like, whenever it's time, she'll be ready. Like she's a great wrestler. Obviously you don't pay for the promo ability of Mercedes. You pay for the wrestling, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what, brings you in. But like, this isn't some woman that I don't think wants to wrestle. Like this isn't some woman that is like, they're hiding her or anything like that. I think this is a case of like, all right, we want to get it built up. So you come in here and we're throwing you an alley-oop. Like, it's not like, oh, it's a week before the big show. Let's shoot an angle and push you in a trios match or something. This is not that, after, not being used for months and months and months. This is not that. This is like hey, we got to make sure that this is right. So belt eventually gets to Will Nightingale. I would start thinking after that, that's when you can start, banging the drum a little more, like, hey, double or nothing. Like, that would, if it were me, Willow's getting this shot here at Dynasty. She's facing Julia Hart. Willow's going to win it this month, and then, you're building that up for a month, essentially, and then you're trying to pop the pay-per-view number on that.
Yeah.
And then you do the match on Dynamite after, and then that's when you get those numbers. Like, this is like, I don't know, man. It's just a little bit of, they're warming it up.
I think the thing is that, like, ever since the week before, or I'm sorry, I'll take that back. Ever since the Dynamite after Revolution, it has been the Mercedes, Ospreay, Okada show, seemingly non-stop as far as these three big additions. And they're on every single week in some form or fashion. And I think the part where it's like Ospreay's already wrestling so much. And we already have Okada 2 matches in. I think a lot of it is like, all right, well, this is the third piece. When is the third shoe going to drop? And it's like, different situation, different division. Also, one person's clearly, these other two are healthy. This one doesn't seem to be because this person hasn't wrestled since they broke their shit a year ago.
Right, they're coming off injury. Yeah.
Right. I think the thing is like, why would you bring her in if she's not cleared to perform yet? And it's like, because we booked the venue from Boston, fool. That's why.
Like, the money was spent.
Yeah, sometimes we could do this backwards. It's okay. And I think that's a lot of what it's coming down to is like the in pages comparing them to the other two, and also thinking like she's just ready to go without actually like knowing that for sure yet. And it's like, I wonder if I haven't like checked, but like, has anyone been like, hey, Meltzer, have you like asked if she's cleared? Because it's one thing if they told him yes, and so that's why he's asking. But like, I haven't heard him be like, I've checked and they've said she's good to go. I haven't heard that from him.
That will require somebody from AEW to talk to Dave Meltzer these days.
Good point. That's another part that's funny about the CM Punk thing that we talking about, it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Punk was
the person that was talking to Dave was Punk.
Right. Punk was talking. No. Besides that part, we already knew that part. Like Punk was talking. NFTR was talking to Meltzer, but it's
yeah, absolutely.
Punk was saying that like everybody's giving his information off to Meltzer at the same time. While this was happening, Meltzer was out here with the mic in his hand on his podcast says, they ain't saying nothing. This is ridiculous. It's been months. Ain't no one saying nothing. You see me on camera, Tony. You see these guns? They maybe put these guns on you. He literally did everything but say that last part on a podcast. So it's like, he wasn't paying attention. He just saying whatever he want to at the time. And I was like, it was funny. Cause he didn't mention Meltzer by name, but he didn't mention the 5-star thing. And that only person he could possibly be talking about is Meltzer. So I was like, oh, okay. And then come to find out, hours later, Meltzer was like, I was talking to you.
Amazing.
It always comes back to CM Punk, man, and Dave Meltzer.
Amazing. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta got a victory over Undisputed Kingdom. I was shocked because Trent got a victory here.
Match was good.
I thought there was some kind of mistake. Usually, like Trent is losing these, but he did not.
Trent look. We just talk about Meltzer saying, Tony made me put these guns on you. Do you know what Leah would have said on the phone? Total talk. And they lost to David and Bennett. Man. She would have said she would have called Tony Khan all things except for I forgot that Tony Khan.
The child of God.
I forgot that Tony Khan was Muslim, so I just put brakes on that.
They got God in Islam?
Right, but I didn't. But I was like, I didn't want to. I was like, wait a second, Allah. The joke don't work the same way. Let's move on. I'm trying to just avoid it. Too late.
Swerve when you drive.
So, but yeah, man. And then they hug, they celebrate, and then they catch the double low blows.
Yeah, the Bucks are out there, and they stare them down. They did the low blows like on Rampage, I think.
You're right.
But yeah, that should be a hell of a match next week. Bucks against Cassidy and Beretta. Yes, tomorrow. Here on this Tuesday evening. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, decent show last week. Trying to think what else we got here. Oh yeah, I guess we might as well do the WrestleMania 40 preview.
Oh boy. Do we know which matches are on night 1 or 2 yet? I think the wiki has some of them up on night 1 and 2.
I believe night 1 has been announced in full, and then night 2 has 6 matches there. But you know how to do these things now, so I don't know if they're going to add anything else.
I heard something about like the show is going to start at 7.
Yeah.
Which then, like, I don't know if that means the pre-show starts at 7 or if like the main show starts at 7.
I think the main show is going to start at 7.
So, WrestleMania 35 started at, 7, right? Ended at like 12:20, 12:30, some shit like that. It was like 5.5 hours. Everyone complained, and everybody said, what, Rich? WrestleMania should move to 2 years. Should move to 2 shows.
2 nights.
It's moved to 2 nights because this is too much. Now what are we going to get? 2 fucking 5-hour shows. This is why I said no to begin with. You start a slippery slope. All they're looking for with Peacock and with the network before
watch time.
Was watch time. I was telling y'all back then, I want you all to come back and apologize. Say, James, you're right. We made a terrible mistake. We're going to be waterlogged by a terribly paced wrestling show with 5 hours for 7 fucking matches. We're almost like, when are we going to to an hour, a match an hour?
Like, they're going to be going like 45 minutes between bells and shit. Like, they're going to be playing so many tourism commercials. You're just going to start just becoming sick to your stomach. You're going to see so many performances with rappers and musicians and motherfuckers like, just walking to the ring, the long ass stadium I'm sure they're going to have. Super long. How long is Roman Reigns' entrance going to be? If this is where he's losing the belt, is he going to have a 10-minute entrance, James? Is this going to be the year they do it?
I mean, if it was Stardom, that's what they do. Because you know how they had those faction blow matches? Like, or like someone's about to turn it and you don't realize someone's about to turn yet. Like, they love getting that faction there to get up on the ring together and take all the photos right before Natsboy kicks Julie in the face and shit like that. They love doing that.
But yeah, man, it's gonna be. We saw last year they introduced all the advertisement. We talked about the slow creep, all that stuff. It's gonna get nasty out there, and yeah, man. So let's start with night 1.
Wait, can you look in the chat? Can we verify that?
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, like in his biography thing, like he's still taking regular medication.
Oh, okay. I thought like it like he's relapsed, he needs to leave or something. Okay.
No. Okay. So night 1 of WrestleMania 40. What a road to get here, like as far as The Rock, the insertion of him in this thing. WrestleMania 40 in itself.
Hold on. Let me get right for this. Hold on, sir. Let me get right for this before we get fully into
I feel like I need to play like the old WrestleMania music.
Just had to.
I'm not gonna play it.
Had to get right in the background.
Yeah.
Rock whooping on these white boys. The only way they made this better, like what Rock's done the last couple of weeks, is like if this was in February. That's the only way this would have been better.
Oh man,
the only way would have been better.
But yeah, so we got the main event of fuck it. Night 1, The Rock and Roman Reigns taking on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, who The Rock beat these boys with a belt last night. Fought them up. It almost like looked like some Hollywood Hogan shit, to where it was just like, oh, it's just. I thought it was kind of sloppy or whatever at times.
I'm sorry, sloppy or not, I was too busy laughing my ass off every time them two was getting their asses whooped by The Rock. I'm sorry. Yeah. He's whooping them niggas like he would say daddy.
But yeah, obviously they had to switch all this shit up on the fly. This wasn't be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, or The Rock versus Roman Reigns with no whatever. Or excuse me, it was gonna be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, which it still is. And obviously, The Rock, the whole deal with the rejection and blah blah blah. They had to shuffle shit up after CM Punk got hurt, and this whole thing arose from this press conference and this fucking glaring hole of why Cody wanted to give his match away in the first place.
Yep.
Which there's no coming back from that. Like, oh, this is goofy from there on. So once you accept that it's goofy, we can move along. Once you come to our side, like, yes, it is goofy. It's okay. The Rock has put on various silks throughout the weeks.
Do I finally expose what I normally call the silks? The haberdashery?
Sure.
Yeah, man. Like, whenever you see... Never mind. Rock be coming out here with the Negresian silks on.
Clip that.
Like, bro, I don't know where he got those from. That's from some foreign land over there from the motherland. Like, right? I know you'd be like, there's no country called that. I know, that's the joke. Okay? That's the joke.
Yeah. But this whole thing is, The Rock has completely overshadowed Roman Reigns. He has made Cody Rhodes into like just beating him week to week. Made him, I don't know, bro. I see the Cody Rhodes shit and it's like, I don't see the cool part of it. Like the heroic nature of it. Like, it don't quite hit for me in that way, but whatever.
He's selling babyface and Pearl so bad. It is like, you better be winning. You better be fucking winning. Because if you lose after the way they have worn your ass out the last 2 weeks on Raw,
I might actually light this bitch on fire.
And also you heard it like he said it like I've signed on with them long term, and it's like, all right, man, you better have got it in paper that you were gonna walk out that bitch as champion along with that re-signing. Because anything other than that, like, you can't trust these motherfuckers. You can't, especially after that way they did him last year.
Seth Rollins is a complete non-factor in this thing.
I mean, he's factoring in getting his ass whooped.
Just a guy, literally in there to make 2-on-2. The whole deal with this is if they lose, or if Rose and Rollins win, members of the Bloodline are barred from ringside, and why would they do that? So I feel like this gives it away. The Rock is going to pin Cody Rhodes in this tag match and set up the Bloodline rules match where literally Jesus Christ himself may be summoned from the back to run interference. I'm talking Austin. I'm talking Cena. I'm talking anybody that they can dig up will probably be coming out to help even the odds for Cody Rhodes, and this shit is gonna look like one of them superhero movies and shit, or motherfuckers walking through the portal and all this other shit to vanquish Thanos. Okay.
So I can see Austin because like you can get Austin in an ATV riding down the ramp. There's nothing Hogan can be on that can get him down there fast enough.
Yeah.
You gonna put Hogan under the ring for 5 hours?
Sure. Leave his ass there.
That'd be fucking hilarious. Hogan all of a sudden roll his ass from under the ring.
Yeah.
Look, can't get up. Look, getting up. Oh, my back. You. That would be fucking hilarious.
Question: what does Rollins get out of this? He gets on the marquee at WrestleMania, the last match for the first time and last time.
This man gets to say that he finally he main evented a WrestleMania and it wasn't on a cash in, and it's funny because like it's night one, so like some people ain't.
It's like a half of it's like a 0.5 of WrestleMania main event,
something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is Rock all day. There's gonna be a very basic match, I think, layout wise. Obviously, you know, no one's gonna try to get hurt between Roman and Cody. They got to go out there the next night. Seth obviously is facing Drew. He's fresh off the injury as well, and Rock is going to be trying to not tear everything in his body. He took one bump on Monday Night Raw about the safest, softest way possible.
Yeah, he was in the corner and he took a bump while holding the top rope to go down. Yeah. I will say this: he was selling them punches like crazy for Cody until the cutoff happened. Absolutely, I'll give him that. So Rock still can sell and bump his ass off, which is funny because like you know when it's a Hollywood shit, he don't want to be doing that. He writes his contracts, he'll not have to sell. But here he actually sold for Cody Rhodes. That's crazy.
So yeah, that's the main event. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the women's championship.
What you got on this one?
Man, I think there's an undercurrent happening with this whole thing. There's like, you know, I think the newer fan base of this thing, they're all in on Rhea Ripley. They kind of see Becky Lynch as you know, yesteryear, passe. They see her as like, you know, someone that was, you know, great, you know, that helped build this thing up, but you know, they're into Rhea Ripley now. There's a lot of like Bret Hart kind of energy with Becky Lynch, like, you know, you know, like she looks at this way and how she wants to, you know, be presented as a women's wrestler. Kind of Rhea Ripley flies in the, you know, antithesis of that.
Yeah, there was a lot of second wave respectability politics, second wave feminism, respectability politics involved in the things she said about like how she did not like the stink face thing from a couple weeks ago. She's entitled to that opinion because look, she knows more about the optics and that kind of stuff when it comes to wrestling than I'll ever remember. But like, I kind of like the idea that like there should be enough women's representation to where like that can happen, and then you could actually have like other strands and spectrums of femininity across, or even non-binary, like across women's wrestling. So I kind of thought there's like, that's the reason why I like Stardom. It's like you can have the murderer's row of Donna Del Mondo, and you can also have like the Barbie dolls of like Cosmic Angels, and like it's okay because like there's so much around. It's like they're not playing as stereotypes because like this is actually the whole spectrum of women. So I didn't like Becky saying that. So I get why you're saying like the Bret Hart thing, because she sounds what do you call it, grouchy in that way.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, I think she's swimming up the stream on that. I feel like the fans have largely like made the decision on this. And, you know, to keep it quite frank, like Rhea Ripley's like someone they're clearly, if you're talking about who's going to be down the road, like who's got more years in front of them, is Rhea Ripley. And I think especially when
Becky's contract runs out in 2 months and she hasn't been offered a new deal, apparently.
Yeah. So there's that. You know, obviously the championship's on the line. Rhea's the champion. I don't think this is necessarily about the belt. Like it is, but it's not. Like this is about another horsewoman getting surpassed. That's what this is about. So
yeah, and also you know Becky don't give a damn about putting over the young girls either. So
yeah, so that's what this is. So I'm expecting Rhea Ripley to win. I did not watch CMLL. It's on the list.
It's on the thing. Like I mean, I'm gonna watch it. But I didn't get around to it, unfortunately. Look, I had it I had a copy of it the day it came out. I'll put it to you like that. Just haven't had time to get around to watching it. Sorry. If not for that damn women's basketball.
Yeah. Look at us. You know,
wrestling podcast. And we moved out the side. It's time to watch.
The women hoops.
Paige Becker.
Yeah. Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. They're doing these vignettes where Chad Gable is training Sami Zayn for this. Sami Zayn is going full Rocky Balboa. I'm afraid, and all this shit. And all I can think is, oh my god, they are about to do Jordan Devlin and David Starr and Walter all over again. And Chad Gable's gonna see Sami Zayn about to fucking win, and then fuck him. Chad's gonna turn. He'll be like, it was supposed to be me that beat him, and all this shit. They're gonna be off to the races. And once again, Gunther will never lose this fucking belt because like they're not allowed to elevate him. Apparently,
that definitely could happen. I can also see a situation. Either way, the match is going to be based off of the selling of Sami Zayn getting his ass worn out and chopped to a million pieces. So I could see,
Brewhaven. Oh my god! I need to clip this.
What happened?
Comment Brewhaven left.
Shame about David Starr? Oh wow!
No, keep going up. Keep going up.
Oh, okay. All right, I see it.
I'm about to send a screen cap out of this on Twitter. That's right. Rich Latta, James Boyd, the faces of feminism.
Oh man.
But yeah,
I think they're gonna have a great match. Like this is a match that like fits perfectly into what Sami Zayn is capable of at this point. Like he can get his ass whooped and he can survive and he can, get his whole spots in or whatever else. Ultimately, they'll come up with whatever the finish is. But like I think they can make this compelling. Like, but it won't be some the typical Walter like brutal classic. This is going to be like you mentioned Rocky. This could be like Rocky and Drago. This could be one of those.
We got a 6-pack tag ladder match. This is just get all these niggas on the card.
They finna ball.
And they got both of these belts on the line. So like, this is stupid.
Both of the belts are being defended at the same time.
Yeah, separately.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, well, why wouldn't you just grab both sets?
You know what they're probably gonna do? They're not gonna have them on like the same thing. They're probably gonna be like 5 feet apart where you can't sit the ladder together. You got to go up to get one. You got to go down and set it back up to get the other one. I guarantee that's going to happen.
This is how they de-unify the belts.
Right. Right.
Anti-unity here.
Right. So look, I'm fine with it. Ultimately, because like, I don't care. But what I will say is this, like much like that. What was the match last year? That multi-man match that was nuts last year. What Ricochet?
It was just a showcase match. I don't remember who was in it.
And D'Angelo and Braun Strowman. That was Raw. What was that match? Was that?
It was like a fatal. It was like a 4-team match.
I think this is gonna be this. It's gonna be a party match like that. Where like multi-person ain't gonna go nuts. I think this could be like remember WrestleMania 31 and 32, those Intercontinental ladder matches. This could be something rivaling that. So I'm into it. It's gonna be a great match.
Balor and Damian Priest, Gargano and Ciampa, Miz and R-Truth.
Yep. Kofi, Bait and
Dunn.
Bait and Dunn. Yeah.
DIY England.
DIY.
Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, DIY Scumbag. New Day, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. So like, of course, the worst team in this thing is going to win. The Miz and R-Truth.
In theory, I thought that too. Like they're going to grab sets of belts. I can see that.
The Miz and R-Truth is getting one of these hoes too,
Think
and
so?
then Theory and Waller are getting the other ones.
Oh, so you going for the double stinker? Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, they're going to pop for the Miz and R-Truth winning, but
that don't mean there ain't no double stinker.
Yeah. Speaking of a double stinker, Jimmy Uso versus Jay Uso in the Yeet versus No Yeet match.
Yes,
boy,
Yeet versus No Yeet, as I like to call it, Yeetism. Like to pay homage to Japanese pro wrestling, we'll call it Yeetism. It was funny. Like before The Rock came out on the show on Raw yesterday or last night, like Jimmy and Jay was fighting up at the ramp, and then like as Jay was hitting Jimmy, every big punch, you hear the crowd yell, "Yeet, yeet, yeet!" And the third yeet sent Jimmy into Gorilla, and Jay followed them, and then quickly, next thing you know, the Yeet Man got yeeted, and then the People's Champ came out, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's The Rock!" The Rock threw that Samoan nigga out of the way. I don't give a damn we covered him in blood or whatever. Move, man. Look, I'm sorry, Rock make everybody like geeks. I'm sorry, but
it's
yeah,
hilarious, man.
If that was a build to the match,
Rock gonna be gone after the
years or whatever else. Like their go home
something
angle
fucked up.
was they fight to the back, and then the bigger, better Samoan threw them out the way.
Oh, baby.
Great.
Yeah. The Yeet versus No Yeet match, man.
What you got in the over under star rating?
This guy Matt versus Jeff Hardy rated 2.5.
2.5? I say I'll put it at 2 3/4. I'll put it at 2 3/4.
Man, I hope they don't give these boys 20 minutes. I hope, man, this guy, because you know what it's gonna be. They're not gonna come out here. They're not about to come out here and try to give us the Usos of like 2017 against each other. They're not doing that. They're going to talk to each other and cinematize this whole thing. I don't have high hopes for this one.
I don't either.
6-woman tag match. The black women versus the Japanese. The James Boy Bowl.
This is really nasty by you. Wow.
What side you on, James?
Wow. How dare you? Wow. First off,
who you with?
First off, how dare you say the James Boy Bowl in the match with Dakota Kai's in it? Look, once I saw Dakota was in that match, I was like, well, I know who's winning. I know who's taking the pin. But yeah, man, I'm interested to see what Jade does. I wonder what level of thought they put into this match, what kind of care they're going to give this match to protect her. But outside of that, like, I'm not concerned about the other 5 because the other 5 are capable wrestlers that are experienced and have done all this stuff. It just comes down to how are they going to showcase Jade and are they going to like get back to Jade versus Bianca as something they can tease Ascension with, or they try to one up each other so you can want to see them down the line, because that's what people really want to see after they showed them, basically go bar for bar at the Rumble.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a match between them.
You think they're going to tag together?
Yeah, I think they're going to team up for quite a while. Like at least,
and then they do the turn, then and they do the match
like down the road
in like a year or two.
Whatever.
Okay,
something like that.
That wouldn't be bad because look, if you want to put Bianca with Jade to get Jade, until she can handle things on her own better at that certain level, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea because Bianca can do whatever.
Naomi's going to be working, I think, a lot of this match to set up these hot tags for Bianca and Jade to kind of clean house here. I know they got Dakota in there, but hell, they might pin Kyrie to like set up a tag title match between Bianca and Jade as soon as like
Warriors. Yeah, you're right.
As soon as like Monday Night Raw, even. So,
look, I'll put you like this. I know who ain't getting pinned. It ain't gonna be
Jade.
Look, it won't be Jade. It won't be Bianca, and it won't be Asuka. The other 3, they can get pinned. We've seen it.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be a cool visual. Obviously, there should be a lot of style in this match. I think between both teams.
Yep.
As far as Jade, I expect her to be Jade. Like, I don't expect her to show up as Akira Hokuto. I don't expect her to show up as Bull Nakano. I think she will do all her trademark power stuff that she's done on national television for years.
Yeah, I don't expect her to show up and be Bianca. She's gonna be what she does. And like, luckily, in a tag match, in a 6-person tag, she can play her hits, and it's gonna work because she didn't stop looking how she looked.
Then we got the Latino Civil War. We got Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee against Santos Escobar and Dom Mysterio. So that's right, Rey versus Dom, another chapter. Dragon Lee's getting put over as the next Rey Mysterio. Sure, I guess. Santos Escobar is a Rudo. Dom is a Rudo.
Yep. Can we get 2 out of 3 falls?
I don't really got much on this one.
Can we get 2 out of 3 falls?
Nah.
No?
That would take up too much time. They got to play commercials.
I forgot they did 2 out of 3 falls. I forgot that shit 2-3 years ago. Never mind. I was thinking more actual CMLL rules, but okay. You're right. Yeah, man. This match is gonna be fun because like they're gonna play with the whole Dom Heat thing. Escobar obviously gonna do most of the work. Dom will help cheat. They'll get the crowd really hot. Ray's still great. Dragon Lee's great. I think it's gonna be a successful match. Do I really care about it in that way? No, except for I get to see Ray and Dragon Lee team up. But I think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Let me look to see if Ray got a new shirt out or something like that. Hold on.
And that's day 1 of WrestleMania. So day 2.
Here we go.
I guess we can do. We'll go. We'll start with Seth freaking Rollins and Drew McIntyre for this World Heavyweight belt. Drew McIntyre, another man who has not signed a deal to our knowledge yet. Mm-hmm. Who knows if he will or not. I'm taking Seth Rollins to retain either way. It feels like Drew's destiny is kind of elsewhere, and that briefcase needs to get cashed in on somebody. I don't think Drew's gonna win this. I just don't get the vibe Drew's winning.
I don't know. I can see it going either way. If it were me, I would have Drew win the damn thing, and then like if you want to then cash in or whatever else. And also, I don't think they're going to. I think they might save the cash in for like the night after. I think I think that will make more sense, but it's still possible. And like, because I don't think they would really want to put that belt on Priest. I think that was the main thing that must struggle like with most of the last few Money in the Bank winners is like they're giving Money in the Bank to people that like they really don't actually want to put the belt on for any type of long term. So I'm have my reservations on whether or not like whenever the cash in happens is actually successful.
As far as Rollins and Drew, they've wrestled each other tons of times. Should be, I don't know, maybe 4-star match here. I think
they have no excuse for it not to be.
I think Drew's going to bust his ass here. I really would like to know who one Chad Matthews is rooting for in this match.
Chad Matthews?
Yes.
I don't. Am I missing something here?
These are his guys.
Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre?
I mean, yeah,
I know Galloway, Chad Matthews. For some reason, I was thinking of
the Doc.
Right. But for some reason, I was thinking of your boy Matthews. That was the commentator that was at Impact TNA before.
What the fuck was his name?
Josh Matthews, I think. And I was like, I had a mind. I had a mind thing. I was halfway positioned. I'm like, I'm trying to look at this Ray merch while talking to you. My bad. Let me be a professional and doing my online shopping once we're done. So I'll move that to the side and get back to the podcast. Sorry, y'all.
Then we got a singles match for the women's title. Io or Low Sky.
No, he's calling her Leo
Sky.
Like he thought that the I was an L and then the Y was added, so it was Leo. He's calling Io Leo.
It's hilarious.
Fucking Otis. Yeah, man. So all right.
Versus Bailey.
Now, I don't know if you saw this, right?
the presumed main event.
Now, I was getting to that. There were people online that were upset that like this wasn't the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania, and I was like, what fucking planet was ever going to be the main event of a WrestleMania night 1 or 2? They could have made it a night 3 WrestleMania. There was never going to be a main event of that one. What? I don't know.
Clinically insane.
They were talking about, which is true, how much Damage Control like did a lot of the heavy work with Roman Reigns not being there for SmackDowns. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but like they don't put butts in seats. They just on the show. And that's no disrespect because Bayley at one point was maybe my favorite wrestler in the world, and Io is one of the people I respect most in wrestling wise in this era. Like she's one of the most influential people on like what has like been my viewpoint on pro wrestling in the last like 6 years in pro wrestling. So, but like at the same time, that doesn't mean that like they were gonna actually be a marquee match. There was a match on the card. So I don't get how people came to this or why people like thought that like pro wrestling has changed or act like they've never seen pro wrestling and knew that this was like maybe something you were into, but not actually something like everyone was into or has interest in everybody. This is a favorites thing.
Yeah. Io versus Bayley. This is a Three Daughters of Stardom versus a Horsewoman match. So again, James, I asked, who you with in this James Boyd Bowl?
Look, man. If you had told me, I'm glad I haven't mentioned this on the show yet. If you had told me in 2019 or 18 that there was going to be a WrestleMania match for a WWE Women's title featured a prominent storyline between, as you mentioned, a Daughter of Stardom, a member of Freedom, and a 4-horsewoman, that when the time came and was announced, and then as going on in weeks and in months of anticipation, you wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't have believed it. I don't care. Like
Bayley is out here getting his Lifetime Achievement Award ass match.
That's how I feel about it too. It's like
that's what that Royal Rumble win was. This is charity.
Like
this is we ain't never gave you shit. That's what this is.
I don't. So one of them's gonna leave as champion, and I feel like whoever leaves as champion is will not be champion by the time we get to SummerSlam. They'll move on to something else. Probably something involving Bianca or Jade, but whatever. Like they'll move on from this. So it's like, so the idea that people were like, this should be the main event of night one. I'm like, y'all think this matters more to WWE than like Drew versus Seth? Are you kidding me? I don't know, man.
Amazing.
Look, obviously they watch it more than I am, but I'm just like, I feel like you're too far in the forest to see the trees on that one.
Yeah, it's like, y'all got to trust the casual fan. One Nation Radio on this nasty. One. That's nasty. Trust the casual audience.
Oh man.
LA Knight versus AJ Styles. They're doing home invasions to be like 4 from the top on a 2-night WrestleMania. What the fuck are they doing?
Whose house was invaded?
AJ's.
Why can't they leave that damn family alone?
Like, he need to get a fence or something. Damn. Security. Gated neighborhood.
God damn.
A dog. Something. You from Georgia? Where the bulldog at? Unleash the dog on him.
Yeah, man. AJ, look, we're gonna see how great AJ still is.
Shit.
We gonna have to see how great AJ still is, cause LA Knight, he has a low ceiling. Obviously,
is this the biggest challenge for AJ Styles at a WrestleMania since Shane McMahon, or the broke down Undertaker? What is the
broke down Undertaker? He could get cuts, but either way, LA Knight's a lot better than Shane. Let's not. But the thing is, does that really matter? Because like AJ is not the same wrestler he was in 2017. So, AJ
Styles is 46. He's about to be 47 in June.
Not only is he 46, ready to go 47, he's also a lot heavier now because he's gigantic compared to what he was when he first was in WWE.
Also, prepare for new AJ Styles music. One of the last great theme songs I think that is left in WWE may be on the way out. If this man come out here with some boom fuckery, I think people are going to be upset.
I will be, and I will. Every week I feel like I go on Twitter and I see someone like slander
Def Rebel.
Def Rebel, and if they come out here with some fuckery,
you joining in?
I will for the first time instead of just witnessing, I'll be participating in the burial. Like the audacity. Man. Like I should have never forgave them once they
that's a crazy line. Like that's crazy. Hey yo.
What, I went from witnessing to participating?
Yes. Hey yo.
Yeah, Rich, I got off the cuck chair. I decided to get on the bed. Anyway, so yeah, man, like I was they've been on my shit list, but I don't really talk about it because I don't really watch it. But they've been on my shit list ever since they changed Gargano's theme music. It's buddy.
Got that dude singing that song. That shit sound foul.
Look,
wrong.
It's finna be bad for them if they fuck up the AJ shit.
Like they might as well flip. You know how when you watching like an illegal copy of some shit, like it's flipped backwards. Like that's what they did to Johnny Gargano's music. That shit's backwards.
Like it's funny because like people talk about the Roman music is great, and I'm like, I don't think so either. I think it's fine.
Yeah, but
if that is the best one, that's the one they say is the best one. Then like, goddamn, Def Rebel, y'all ain't hitting no shit. So they better bring it. They better be out here ready to bring out the country version of the Nakamura if they gonna change the AJ music. They better have something.
Fuck it, call TNA and ask for "Get Ready to Fly." I think I popped for that, but 6-man Philadelphia street fight. Another gang war here. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits against the Final Testament, Karrion Kross, Aquaman and Razor.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. Scarlett and Paul Ellering, how the fuck do they have two managers that don't talk? What the fuck does Paul Ellering do in 2024?
Can't speak on it, man. But I'm not looking forward to this match. This is like the match I'm least interested in so far that you've mentioned on WrestleMania card.
They've got two managers that don't talk. That's incredible. I didn't know such a thing could be done.
No, I take that back because they had Cornette. Also, they had Cornette with Mr. Fuji because Mr. Fuji didn't talk. Yeah, never mind.
I think this is, it ain't a lot of representation on this show. If so, these niggas is in packs on this show. I think this is going to be Lashley.
You saying they bringing out national teams?
That's what they doing. I'm going to take Lashley, Angelo, and Montez on this. There's going to be a lot of window dressing around this thing and, interesting tweets flying on this shit. But if your name ain't The Rock, your ass is tagging up somewhere low on the show.
Yeah. It's also funny, like, given where the rhetoric was, like, a year or two ago, like, lots of factions. And at the time, I was like, the problem ain't the factions. The problem is that, like, y'all ain't used to wrestling being done this way, and like factions actually make it great because when there's breakups, you actually feel when they break up. And what did Triple H do? As an NWA fan, brought a bunch of factions and stables together. And what's gonna happen over the next 2-3 years? They're all gonna turn on each other, and the fans will be talking about cinema again because of how long all the long form storytelling. You fucking dopes! Like that's what AEW was going for, but y'all didn't want that. Y'all just wanted WWE to be good again. It's like, hey man, I want WWE to be good again too, but I also want to watch AEW if AEW is good. Stop. It's weird. Stop being weird.
Oh my God. Dr. Laird said Rhonda just said Drew Gulak put his hands down her pants against her will. Holy shit. I know she was on News Nation tonight. And Gulak be training people at the PC. Holy shit. All hell's breaking loose on social media right now. Whoa. Oh my. This is a lot. She's got that book out. I see it right here. Oh my god.
That's why she's been doing so many interviews of late, or media late of late. Because I didn't know she had a book coming out. Okay,
or it's out already. Whoa. Actually, I've got the quote here. Let's see. They asked if she experienced any misconduct with Vince McMahon during her time in the WWE. She said, not Vince personally towards me, but the company culture definitely. One time I was waiting to go talk to Triple H in the writer's room. I was standing there with Bruce Pritchard and another one of the writers. The guy grabs the string of my sweatpants and no one reacts as if this is normal. He grabs it and starts going down the hall. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Why are you grabbing the string of my sweatpants? If my husband was standing here next to me, would you feel comfortable walking up to me and grabbing the string of my sweatpants? Nobody around me acted as if it was abnormal. All the guys around me were just acting like it's part of the day. I'm like, if this guy is coming up to me and doing this kind of stuff to me where other people are around, what's happening to these other girls when it's not in a hallway? This really put me on edge to where not only is this behavior prevalent, but it's so prevalent that people don't even realize it's a problem anymore. Asked who it was, Rousey replied, I know exactly what he looks like and I'm blanking on his name. Is this part of my concussion test? A moment later, she said, Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak, that's who it was. I confronted him later and I was like, if I ever hear about you putting your hands on any other woman like this or doing anything like this ever to me again, we're going to have a problem. He was like, no, I'm glad you said something to me. He really backpedaled, but it put a sour taste in my mouth about the culture there and what's considered acceptable on how to touch and treat women in hallways and anywhere.
What the fuck?
Niggas had the nerve to try Ronda Rousey like this.
Motherfuckers play too much, man. Like, motherfuckers play too much, and motherfuckers, like, think they can get away with, like, just ridiculous shit. Like, what kind of... Like, what do you own, bro?
I feel like someone in WWE needs to address this immediately.
Right, immediately.
Like, they've got this nigga as part of, like, getting people ready, training, and whatever.
Sounds like some Brit rest shit, doesn't it?
David Bixenspan had a tweet. I hope no one's surprised that Drew Gulak is a creep. You know, I think on the week of WrestleMania, more stuff coming out on this shit, and it's like we see what's going on in this. You know, Triple H says he didn't read the lawsuit. He didn't have access to it. Someone's got to ask about this. And there needs to be real answers to this shit.
What did she mention if this was brought to Triple H's attention?
I don't think she's ever talked about this until now. And she said she confronted him about it.
Right. But the thing is, it happened in front of a group of people because she said it happened in front of a group of people. Like, how come this was not brought up the chain of command, or was it brought to chain of command? It was ignored. We need to figure, like, the people that don't do journalism or claim they do need to get on their job and start asking questions. Like, when they do their press conference, this weekend or whatever else, they need to put these questions to Triple H, and he needs to answer some questions or do what he did with the Vince thing. But they need to still put the questions on recording that they asked him, and he either ducked them or he answered them.
Remember, James, the bad man's gone. You know, the bad man has been sent away. You know, it's not the whole culture. It's not WWE on the lawsuit. It's not ingrained in this shit. Come on, man. Like, this is This is crazy, man. Like, I don't even want to finish this fucking preview. Like, this is
What was left?
Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes.
Let's just get through that. Let's get through it. We can get off the show.
Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes feels so suddenly unimportant now.
Right.
Finish the story. Cody Rhodes wins. Mountains and mountains of interference and bullshit. Michael Cole screaming his head off. I don't think this is nearly as dramatic as last year, which is why they're going to try to gimmick this shit up to death. And I think that for Roman Reigns to drop the belt here, after how many days, I'm not sure. 1,300 of them or some shit. I don't know.
Whatever. It's not even close to the record because what's his name had the belt for like 7 fucking years. Who cares?
I do not have fond memories of this title reign. I do not think this was, you know, for a while I was like, well, I think around like last time in the Hall of Fame voting, I was like, well, I'll vote for Roman. I've reconsidered. Like, The Rock came in and totally just like
show you what an actual Hall of Fame performer looks like.
Show you what a real Hall of Famer looks like. Like this guy is a system player, a guy that was plugged in position with, you know, his obvious physical gifts and, you know, the look and everything else. And he was a hard worker for, you know, a lot of his career. And, you know, he's even still working hard now. You know, I know he's on a limited schedule. When he shows up, you know, he does his thing to entertain the audience in his way he tries to engage them. However, like when I look at it, like seeing the history of pro wrestling, like, could I plug somebody else in? Would it have been better? The answer is almost always going to be yes. Here and Cody Rhodes, right guy in the right place. From, you know, the time he walked back in WWE is kind of built for him to win here. If he doesn't win here, I think his career is irreparably damaged. Someone should be tried for booking malpractice, and this really should be Cody Rhodes, and then Cody Rhodes starts beating niggas like Bob Holly.
Well, there's that, and also it's like, all right, think of the way most of the heat of this program has been. It's been Cody and Rock. So it makes sense to me that you have Cody win, and you have Rock basically have some type of malfunction at the junction with Roman that cost Roman the match. You have Cody then eventually carry it to Survivor Series or Royal Rumble or one of the other big three, and then lose to Rock, and then Rock is a champion, and then you do Rock and Roman at 41, like you wanted to do this year. And you can say, look, we did this for we built this whole story over a year, and you basically, you know, just do your John Cena and Rock thing, except with Roman, because you have the whole bloodline thing, so it means more storyline wise. And you can say you had the whole thing there, and you know, obviously this was the way it was supposed to work out. It was supposed to go immediately, but like you built a whole year towards it. So yeah, you can do it that way, and then 41 comes around and you do Rock and Roman, like you want to do.
Yeah. This is the match. You know, I think the era actually peaked last year. They've obviously brought The Rock in to throw some extra juice on this shit to extend it. But this feels like, you know, a moment in time. Like, it obviously is a round number WrestleMania.
Yep.
So
you need to get send the fans on happy, because that's what you've done every single even or nice round 10 number year.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, man, draw a line.
You might want 20 back, but still.
Look, take this shit into the next chapter of this company, because if they persist on with this bloodline Roman Reigns shit, it's like, all right, man, I don't like, this is far beyond the NWO at this point, man. Like, and I don't know. I think these guys are actually capable of probably having a decent, clean match, but we're gonna be in, you know, store for tons of bloodline fuckery. So this is going to be WWE at the. This is going to be Cody Rhodes bringing everything he brings in matches with tons of interference. You're going to see Brandy. You're going to see Mama Rose. You're going to see that fucking dog. You're going to see people that have, like, trained. You're going to see Glacier. Like, you're going to see motherfuckers, like, coming out with Cody Rhodes that train with him. Like, it's going to be so much shit. And it's like, you either going to love this shit or you're going to be like, this is the most overbooked thing I've ever seen
Is Mrs. Huber going to allow -1 to go to WrestleMania again?
Look, I would not, but go ahead. Yeah, actually, yeah, she'll let him go.
Okay.
Yeah, because that shit last year was nasty.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, you ain't subjecting my child to this again.
Yeah.
Not for the sake of to be a prop for your little thing. No.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was your WrestleMania preview. There was also Logan Paul and a 3-way with Orton and Kevin Owens.
That's right. Yeah. Whatever. Match should be fun.
Uninteresting.
Logan Paul isn't winning because one of them two are so busy trying to beat up Logan Paul that they'll start fighting each other because they're idiots. That's yeah.
Randy Orton trying to get home.
It's probably his birthday. It's around this time all the time.
Look, multi-man match at WrestleMania. Randy Orton, stamp it.
Yeah. All right, that's it, right?
That's it.
Yeah, let's get off the show and try to follow this fuckery to happen. Jesus Christ.
Got the video here. I'll send it to you.
All right, yeah. Thanks for listening, y'all. That's the end of the show. If you're watching from the stream and want to donate, go to our podcast, find the link to the Rare Circle, you can donate there, and be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, All Things Elite, M's WWE Adventure, Russell Art with Chris Things, Tunnel Talk, and the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.